How you doing, everybody? Daniel Gaines here again. Going to be doing another video. This time I'm going to be showing some parts from the restraining order hearing between myself and Juliette Parker from back in 2015. I'm only going to highlight a few of the things that she says, and then I'll go over some of the stuff as it's going on. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we?
Yeah. And so before that is we were in Mexico, and before that,
So what happened in Mexico, and give me some time frame.
in New Mexico was the fall, the summer and fall of 2008, and that's when he called and was talking about following me home and stomping my head in and kidnapping Faith and sending me a dead dog's head just to freak me out, and that I would never know where he was gonna be, and that he would send his friends if he couldn't get to me himself. And before that, I hadn't heard from him in a couple of years. Before that, and then I was living, when I first left him, when Faith was 6 months old, I was living with my friend Melissa, who's here, and he would call and threaten both her and I with baseball bats and said he was going to slash our tires, and then if we didn't give him Faith, that he was going to kill us.
And when was this?
In 2004, 2005.
And what's your friend's name?
Melissa Roth.
Okay.
So he's just constantly, whenever he does enter the picture, and he'll have gaps of time where he'll disappear and I won't hear from him. And then he shows up and threatens violence and threatens whoever I'm with and my friends, trying to track me down and find us, and threatens to kill me and take Faith. And when he was around Faith, the testimony from my dad and from my other roommate when I was living in Oklahoma, that was there when Daniel bit Faith. Faith was 1 year old, and she was being given a bath by Daniel, and she bit him, and he bit her back to the point of leaving a bruise mark of teeth on her arm.
All right, we're gonna pause right there. Y'all just heard her say that there was a witness whenever I allegedly bit my daughter. Now, there was a witness that's never been said before. She's made this claim for years, if you recall from the restraining order attempts. She also mentioned her friend Melissa Roth. Well, if Melissa Roth, who she later in the hearing goes on to say that I was threatening Melissa Roth in 2004, why is it that in the 2005 attempt and every other attempt, Melissa Roth was never mentioned at all until 2009 in California? That's the first time Melissa Roth was ever mentioned. California documents, case number and everything. See, case number's the same. That's the very first time right there that Melissa Roth's name is ever mentioned in any kind of documents as far as anything I allegedly did. The very first time. Okay, kind of odd with the allegations. Keep in mind, my daughter said mother never lied about her father. I bit her when she was in the bath as a baby. Go look at what Juliette alleged. I had bitten my daughter on the shoulder once because she'd bitten him. No mention of in the bath, no mention of a witness, no mention of nothing, just that I had bitten my child. That's all that's said. All right, let's continue and go into more.
And then I have the documentation from my OB, because I know that in his statement he said that he didn't push me on the stairs, that I was drunk, but I have all the documentation from my OB at the time proving that I never used alcohol during my pregnancy, and there's no fetal alcohol syndrome, and all my blood tests show that I didn't ever do drugs or alcohol during the pregnancy. And
now, pausing right there. I never said she did drugs during her pregnancy. Never once made that allegation, nor will I. I did say she drank the one night during the pregnancy. Never said she drank all the time. Now, any of you ladies that have had a kid, you know very well, the OB is not with you 24/7. You don't get tested daily or multiple times a day. It's when you go for appointments they do testing and such like that. Now, if I'm claiming that it was only once, and it was just the one time, I've never said anything different. It was the one night. It really was a one-time thing that she went out and got drunk while she was pregnant. But wouldn't that not be shown? I mean, I'm sorry, but that makes no sense. That obviously the OB's not going to say that if it was only one time. But let's continue.
It says that he got an honorable discharge from the Army, and I'm working, the military is actually sending me a copy of the fact that he got a bad conduct discharge from his court-martial because he was drunk on duty and being violent towards his superior officers. I'm working on getting that. The military is a little on the slow side with getting documents to me. So...
All right.
But yet the documents were submitted to Mason County that proved that was a lie. Also, the documents she submitted recently are contradictory to her own statements because they basically say the exact opposite. Well, they don't basically. They do say the exact opposite of what she claimed. But let's continue.
An explosive device or reckless endangerment?
Right. We wound up getting the final charges were reckless burning. We had some ammunition that had corroded, and ATF did their investigation. They found ATF didn't press any charges because they found that the ammunition had gone off due to a static electricity because it was bad ammunition. And when we went to court, and we wound up, the final charge was reckless burning because of the fact that we had been storing the ammunition in the house and it accidentally went off.
So,
Now, see, right there, that's something I want to pause at. I'll actually get go into showing the police reports from that incident in a later video because I have all that information. The police reports, they were breaking down, and this is even she admitted that they were breaking down munitions that they got from Joint Base Lewis McChord, military munitions, breaking them down and selling them for scrap. Now, y'all just heard what she said to the judge. She just blatantly and intentionally lied to this judge in 2015 while under oath. Intentionally lied to this judge.
you have a conviction for reckless burning? Is that what you're telling me? And when was that conviction?
It was February or January of this year.
Of this year?
Yeah.
So just a few months ago.
Is when they did that.
And you have a domestic case filed regarding the child?
What do you
Like
mean?
a modification or
I
something like
have
that?
a parenting plan from Pierce County.
All right, let's go to the next point.
And
Okay, and did you have any other documents that you would like the court to consider today? And again, I'm not going to be considering
not
just
the emails
letters
from
from
notice. Okay.
folks.
I have the letter from my friend Kevin, who was there on the last time that Daniel actually was present with Faith, about his violence and aggressiveness towards me.
Is that signed under penalty of perjury?
No, sir.
Okay.
Now, everything she had, nothing was signed under penalty of perjury. None of it. None of those documents. Everything was just stuff that was written. Now, as you just heard, she said she had a friend, Kevin, who was a witness to me being aggressive and everything towards her. That was back the last time I seen my child, which was back in 2007. She even admits in this, last time I seen my daughter was my daughter's 4th birthday, which was in 2007. My daughter was born in 03. So why is it that in the 2009 documents and everything else, this person was never mentioned? And why is it, if you go and look at the case in Mason County, that's the case number, see, 2015. This is a restraining order attempt. But if you go look, you will notice that there's never a declaration of this person, Kevin. This person, Kevin, never shows up to court or anything else. The only time the name is ever mentioned is right here. Let's continue.
Anything else?
The letter from my father, and then the notarized letter from
We'll get into
my friend.
information about her father in another video. I'll get into that in a bit.
And last place that I knew where he was, I told you I hadn't spoken to him since 2010. He fell off the face of the planet.
Okay, and is it correct? You testified that when Mr. Gaines allegedly pushed you down the stairs, that you didn't go to the hospital because he threatened to kill you if you did. Now, do you recall in your petition where you state that you went to the emergency room because of that?
I ended up going in the emergency room for a different thing. I didn't tell him that I got pushed down the stairs. And Daniel went with
Could you
me.
speak a little louder, please? I'm having trouble hearing.
Sorry, I wound up going to the emergency room for a different thing. Said I had pain several days later in my stomach, and I wound up going. And Daniel went with me and made sure that I didn't tell them that I had fallen or gotten pushed down the stairs. He threatened me before we went, saying that if I told him, that he would make sure that the baby died.
But you just testified you didn't go to the emergency room.
So pausing real quick, notice how there's add-ons to things now. In the document, it just stated that she went to the ER. Now she's adding more to it, but let's continue.
Then, in your petition, you state ER visits for being thrown downstairs while pregnant.
But that's not what I told the ER. He made me lie to them. So the ER.
But that's not what you put in your petition.
I said I went there for that. I didn't tell the ER that.
Okay. Do you have any proof of that?
I don't have the ER visits. They archive all of their medical records. They're working on pulling them out.
Okay.
Now, as you just heard her say, they archive all their med records. They're working on pulling them. If, again, go check the case, go check every single one of the documents, you'll notice never did those documents from the hospital ever show up. There was never any ER documents ever presented. Not one time ever. And if you recall, in the CPS documents, she says threw her down the stairs when she was pregnant, but never mentioned an ER visits or any of that stuff. It's never been said before about the ER and hasn't been said since, other than the one other hearing where she repeatedly changed her story, but that's for a later time. Let's continue.
And you claim that Mr. Gaines is using meth. And the last time you saw him was 8 years ago.
I have,
Isn't that correct? The last time you saw him was 8 years ago?
yes.
And did you have anyone, if you were claiming that that you know he's using meth, but you've had no contact with him for 6 years, how do you know that he is using meth?
I guess I don't know that he's currently in it, but when I last saw him, he was using meth. The girl that he was dating, he cheated on her, and she wound up telling me that he had gotten fired from his job because he had peed hot twice for drugs, and he also lost his job in Louisiana. But the Child Protective Services.
I do have objection to hearsay.
Child Protective Services is working on getting those records.
You can answer. Again,
Yeah.
under Evidence Rule 1101.
Right. Child Protective Services is working on getting the records proving that he had peed hot for drugs and got fired. And they're also working on getting records from his job in Louisiana where he also peed hot and got fired for drug use.
Why would CPS be working on that?
Because Daniel called CPS on me.
And that would be because you were storing massive amounts of military-grade ammunition in your house?
CPS was called after,
Okay. Now, before we continue, for one, CPS isn't going to get records from an employer about if I was fired from drug use, especially whenever she's claiming it was, 10 years before this or something like that. Whatever. Even if it was several years before this, CPS isn't going to get those records. That's not what they do. My attorney even brings it up at a later point that she works with CPS all the time and she's never heard of CPS ever doing that. Juliette also goes on to say right here that CPS had already spoken to her about this issue. Now, I'll be verifying where in a later video where CPS didn't actually get involved with her until after I contacted them. CPS never looked into the case whenever Juliette got arrested in 2014, ever. FBI, ATF, the military, Pierce County, all of those law enforcement agencies were involved in the explosive at her house, but yet nobody ever notified CPS. CPS never got involved in anything. But let's continue. That's for another time.
The day of the explosion, and they felt that everything was fine, and CPS didn't decide to do an investigation because they felt that wasn't necessary, given the fact that ATF decided to rule it as an accidental explosion of ammunition, which is also why the court decided to rule it as reckless burning.
Now, in the court documents, she took a plea deal. She's saying ATF decided to drop the lower charges, the courts decided lower charges, but she never once stated that it was a plea deal for the lower charges.
Daniel decided to call CPS, and CPS
Misstates facts.
Okay, well, then you can cross-examine.
Your Honor, may I 1 second?
No, you can't. You'll have an opportunity to testify in a little bit.
Let's
okay?
go to the next part. I want you to see. This will all eventually be made public. I just got to figure out how to... I just got to actually figure out how to get it all put on a webpage. I'm going to make this video, the other videos I've got coming, in their entirety, completely public, along with every bit of the documents. All is going to be made public. I just have to figure that out, but for now, let's continue with this.
reading the book, yes.
Okay.
Oh, hold on.
Faith was sleeping in the room underneath.
She was downstairs in her room reading the book, yes.
When the explosive went off in her ceiling.
Can I object? What does this have to do with whether or not Daniel was being violent, harassing, and attacking me, and abusing me, or my daughter?
Okay, so the objection essentially is relevance. Response?
Your Honor, it goes to credibility. She's minimized what happened, that it was just the ammunition gone bad. The probable cause statement clearly shows that's not accurate. It goes to credibility.
And I just want to be, there was actual explosive.
Please don't interrupt. You'll get a
Sorry.
chance. Go ahead.
And she stated that it was a result of a bad bullet when she informed officers that they were trying to take apart the bullet, and that's when they were injured. And her
Okay, see? Even my attorney called her out in court about misrepresenting facts. But let's continue because I don't want this video to be 6 hours long. Let's see.
He also threatened to beat your daughter like he used to,
Those threats weren't made.
No.
Hold on.
to kidnap Faith. I do
Now-
have
objection.
Okay, there's been an objection, sir. Her daughter, like, and sue for custody.
Now, in Juliette's restraining order attempt from Mason County, I'm going to the page 1 second, bear with me. She states, she said, I haven't heard from Daniel in 6 years because he was using so much meth and other drugs. I thought he had died until a week ago when he started calling my dad and friends, threatening to find myself and kidnap my daughter and beat her like I used to. That's what she put in her court documents. Now listen to this.
Told me he was going to sue for custody.
To kidnap Faith? Or did he say that he was going to file a motion for modification and sue for custody?
Told me he was going to sue for custody.
All right. Did he also threaten to beat your daughter like he used to?
Those threats weren't made.
No.
Those
Okay.
were the threats
No.
made to my friend.
Okay. Thank you.
Besides,
See, now there's that. Let's go to the next point. Hold on.
Tapes, phone conversations with me, or anything like that. And I said, I do have, in storage, the tapes of his phone conversations with me, where he does threaten the dog's head and to stomp my face in and to kidnap Faith and to kill my husband at the time. And I said, I would like to be given that opportunity to get that, since I wasn't aware. Like I said, he hadn't been served, so I was under the impression that this court date was going to actually be continued because he hadn't been served. And so I was planning on going and getting those documents. But then, like I said, the lawyer showed up and filed her paperwork this morning. And so I didn't even know about it until, I didn't know that this wasn't going to be continued on until I showed up here today at 1:30. So I haven't had the opportunity to get a copy of the dishonorable discharge or a copy of the drug test results from his previous employers or the tapes out of storage proving that he has been threatening me every time he comes into my life.
Okay, and if he did make those statements, and if you do have them on tape, when were those tapes made?
Fall of 2008, sir. In the winter of early 2009.
Okay. And did you show those or have the court in California listen to those tapes?
They said that they weren't admissible because of the California state law says that because they were tapes and something about the privacy laws and what's allowed recordings.
So you offered them into evidence, but they weren't admitted?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for this witness?
No. I do have a follow-up question for Mr. Gaines.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gaines, recalling you're still under oath. There's a follow-up question by your attorney. Go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. Gaines, were you ever provided copies of these alleged recorded conversations?
No, ma'am, and nor were they ever mentioned to the judge in California. And a simple letter to the California courts can get the transcripts of what all took place down there.
Okay. And have you ordered copies of the court file from California?
No, but I will be today.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. How certain are you, ma'am, that you can get those tapes?
100%. Guaranteed.
Okay. And again, they're from 2008,
Yes, sir.
so 7 years ago.
I recorded every conversation with him from like 2007 on, including the conversations that he's had with Faith.
Okay.
Now, she just said they were from 2008 and early 2009, but yet said she was recording since 2007. As you heard me say, the California case, they were never mentioned in anything else. And that's factual. I would not have objected to him. I would have said, go ahead and play him for the courts. Again, here's the California information. Go check it out. Tapes were never actually mentioned. There was never anything about recordings or any of that.
Anything else today? Okay.
One more part coming up in a
Have
second.
What's now called closing arguments. You'll have an opportunity based upon it.
Previous doesn't know the proper discipline. I just like to say that, like, as you heard my father say, that he has abused Faith and neglected her when he had her in his care, and doesn't know the proper discipline for her. And I have those tapes, and I have both my witness and letters from previous roommates stating his violent threats towards me. And I'm
Okay. Now, in this, there's a part where her father gets called, right? Her father even states that there was no abuse. That her father's a doctor, James Meredith Noel, out of San Antonio, Texas. He's a mandated reporter. Never made any allegations even against me about abuse, as he said to the judge. Okay, and then she turns around after that and says her father testified that I was abusive. Now, my next video I'm going to be doing, it's going to be about her father, James Noel. He's a doctor, again, keep in mind. He's supposed to be ethical and everything else, but I'm going to show you just how many times under oath, keep that in mind, under oath, just how many times under oath this good doctor has lied. I'm going to destroy his credibility because, well, he shouldn't be lying, trying to help keep somebody's kid away from them. And I'll also show in other court documents where he's even stated and admitting he's helping finance her to alienate me from my child's life. Now, as y'all seen in this video, there's a lot of discrepancies made from what you've seen in the documents and the restraining order attempts, from what the CPS records show, and what the evidence is already starting to appear. I'm sure a lot of you can already tell where these videos are going and what they're going to point to. I just want to make sure that everything's on the up and up and everything's done fully, accurately, and with all honesty. And thus far, everything is. Now, again, all this stuff is public information. All right. I'll be posting every bit of it online as soon as I can figure out how to set up the webpage and everything else. I'm looking into it now. It shouldn't be, hopefully it's not too much longer, but we're still waiting on some stuff from Mason County. Hopefully this week or early next week I have it, but either way, my next video again will be about James Meredith Noel, Juliette's father, and his lies, and then from there we'll keep going. Everybody who's been watching, thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. Please share. Let's make this go as public as we can. That way, hopefully, we can fix this broken system. That way, things that are happening where they shouldn't be can be stopped. Parental alienation is nothing that should be allowed to be taking place. It should be stopped. It should be discouraged. It should be punished. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we make these people accountable and hold them accountable for their actions. So again, please help share these videos. Let's spread awareness of this situation, and I'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good day. Bye.